Ever notice how a woman who barely gave you attention suddenly starts watching your every move the second you stop chasing? She's not texting you, but she's checking your stories. She's not calling, but she's asking your friends about you. Here's what's actually happening. When you walked away, you triggered something in her psychology she won't talk about. She's realizing she had something valuable and didn't protect it. And there are 7 specific signs that show she's processing this regret, even if she'd never admit it out loud. Today, I'm walking you through each one so you can see exactly what's going on in her mind. Here's the truth from a woman's perspective. When we take a good man for granted, we don't wake up one day and announce it. We don't text you, "Hey, I realize now that I didn't appreciate you. My bad." That's not how female psychology works. What actually happens is this internal shift. She starts noticing the absence of what she used to ignore. She starts questioning whether she made a mistake, and all of that shows up in her behavior before it ever shows up in her words, if it shows up in words at all. So what I'm giving you today are 7 behavioral signs that she's having that realization. These aren't things she'll tell you directly. These are patterns you can observe, decode, and understand so you're not left guessing. By the end of this, you'll know exactly where you stand and what's actually going through her mind. And more importantly, you'll know how to handle it from a position of strength, not desperation. Let's break down the first sign. Number 1. She's suddenly more responsive. Here's what this looks like. You used to text her and wait hours, sometimes a full day for a response. Now, she's replying within minutes. She's initiating conversations she used to ignore. She's asking about your day, your plans, what you're up to, things she never cared about when you were chasing. What's happening psychologically is this: when you were pursuing her, your attention had no value because it was guaranteed. She could take hours to respond, and you'd still be there. But the moment you pulled back, you triggered loss aversion in her brain. Now your attention is scarce, and scarcity creates value. She's afraid you've moved on. She's testing if you're still available. And the fastest way to do that is to increase her responsiveness and see if you match it. Here's the specific behavior pattern. She's viewing your stories within minutes of you posting. She's liking things she used to scroll past. If you post something, she's in your notifications faster than she ever was when things were going well. She might even double text you now. Something she made you feel desperate for doing. Now here's what most men do wrong in this moment. They see the responsiveness and think, finally, she gets it. And they immediately reward it with the same energy she didn't deserve. They go right back to chasing. Don't do that. That's validation she hasn't earned yet. What you do instead is match her previous energy. If she took 6 hours to respond when you were interested, you take 6 hours now. If she was cold and distant, you stay warm but busy. Make her feel what this shift is like. Make her realize that your availability isn't automatic anymore. This isn't about revenge. It's about resetting the dynamic so she understands your value. Here's a concrete example. She texts you, "Hey, how have you been?" You don't respond instantly with 3 paragraphs. You wait a few hours, then respond with, "Been good, staying busy." You kinda. Short, friendly, not cold, but not desperate. Let her work for your attention the way you had to work for hers. But here's where it gets more interesting. Sign number 2 reveals what's going on in her head when she brings up the past. Sign 2. She brings up the good times. Random messages start coming through. "Remember when we went to that restaurant?" Or "I was thinking about that time." She's sending you old photos, screenshots of conversations, inside jokes that haven't been mentioned in months. Out of nowhere, she's nostalgic about what you had together. Here's the psychology behind this. When a woman starts romanticizing the past with you, it means her present isn't measuring up. She's either comparing you to whoever's in her life now, or she's realizing how ordinary her life feels without the experiences you created. Nostalgia is her way of testing the waters. She's seeing if you'll engage with those memories, if there's still emotional connection there, if the door is still open. What this really means is she's running a comparison check. You're winning against whatever else is out there. She wouldn't be bringing up good memories if she was happily invested in something better. The fact that she's reaching into the past means the present doesn't have what you brought to her life. Now here's what you don't do. Don't get sucked into the nostalgia trap. Don't spend an hour texting about old memories like you're writing your relationship's highlight reel. That puts you in the past with her, and you don't want to live there. The past is where relationships go to die slowly. What you do instead is acknowledge it briefly and stay present-focused. If she says, "Remember when we went to that concert?" you respond with, "Yeah, that was a good time. Things have been solid lately. How's everything with you?" You're not cold. You're not dismissive. But you're not dwelling. You're showing her that you're living forward, not backward. Here's the red flag to watch for, though. If she's only nostalgic but not changing her current behavior toward you, that's just emotional tourism. She wants the feeling of connection without the work of rebuilding it. Real regret shows up in both nostalgia and changed behavior. If you're only seeing one, it's not genuine yet. That nostalgia is surface level. Sign 3 reveals what she's doing when she thinks you're not watching. Number 3. She's checking your activity way more than before. She's viewing your stories within minutes of you posting. She's scrolling through your profile, liking old posts she never acknowledged when you were together. If you have mutual friends, she's asking them about you, what you're doing, how you're doing. If you're seeing anyone, she's not reaching out directly, but she's monitoring you like you're under surveillance. Here's what's actually happening. You've become valuable again because you're unavailable. When you were chasing, she could check on you anytime, and you'd be there. Now, she doesn't have that access. So she's using every indirect method she can to track what you're up to. She's monitoring for 2 things. 1. Are you moving on without her? And 2. Is there competition she needs to worry about? This is loss aversion ramped up. The responsive behavior we talked about in sign 1. That was her testing if you're still available. This monitoring. This is her realizing you might not be, and that terrifies her more than she'll ever admit. Here's the key insight most men miss. She's not just watching you out of curiosity. She's watching because your absence created a void she didn't expect. The attention you gave her, the value you brought, the experiences you created, all of that is gone. And now she's left comparing everyone else to what you were. And they're not measuring up. This is actually when no contact works the hardest. Because the less you give her, the more she needs to look. Every story you post, every update she sees, it's a reminder of what she's not part of anymore. And that psychological distance is what creates the regret we're unpacking today. So what do you do here? You don't overshare. You don't post obvious thirst traps or flex on her. That looks desperate, like you're performing for her attention. Instead, you just live well. Post occasionally about things that matter to you. Let her see that your life is full without her, but don't make it about her. That's the power move. Not revenge posting, just genuinely moving forward. While she's watching you, sign 4 shows she's worried about something specific. Sign 4. She's testing if you're still available. Suddenly, she's extending invitations. We should catch up sometime. A bunch of us are hanging out this weekend. You should come. She's asking casual questions about your schedule, your plans, if you're seeing anyone. She's not asking these things because she's curious. She's asking because she needs to know if the door is still open. If she decided to walk back through it, would you let her? Here's what's happening psychologically. She's at the stage where monitoring isn't enough anymore. She's seen that you're doing fine without her, maybe better than fine. And now she's running a calculation. If I wanted him back, could I get him back? This isn't commitment. This is reconnaissance. She's testing the waters before she decides if it's worth diving in. What this means for you is significant. She's weighing her options, and you're back on the table. She wouldn't be testing availability if she'd written you off completely. But here's the critical part. She's not fully invested yet. She's seeing if you're accessible before she decides how much effort to put in. Now here's where most men completely fumble this. They see the invitation, the attention, the questions, and they think, finally, she's coming around. So what do? They rearrange their entire schedule to accommodate her. They cancel plans. They make themselves instantly available. And in doing that, they destroy the entire value shift that brought her back in the first place. You cannot be too available here. She learns that you're still the same guy she walked away from. The one who drops everything for her. The one whose time doesn't have competing priorities. And if that's who you are, she won't respect it. She'll test it, confirm it, and pull back again. What you do instead is simple. Be friendly, but busy. If she invites you somewhere, you respond with, "I've got plans this weekend, but I appreciate the invite." You're not cold. You're not playing games. You're just a man whose life doesn't revolve around her anymore. Let her work for your time the way you had to work for hers. Here's where most men think availability equals value. Sign 5 proves them dead wrong. Number 5. She's suddenly way more sensitive to your attention on other women. You post a picture with a female friend. She's in your notifications within minutes. You comment on another woman's post. She's watching. If she sees you talking to someone in public or hears through mutual friends that you were out with someone, suddenly her energy changes. She might make subtle comments, passive-aggressive jokes, or just get quieter than usual. She's reacting to competition she didn't care about when you were available. Here's the psychology at work. Loss aversion doesn't just make you valuable. It makes the possibility of losing you to someone else unbearable. When you were chasing her, she knew you weren't going anywhere. Other women didn't matter because your attention was locked on her. But now she has to compete. And women hate competing for what they used to have freely. What this tells you is massive. Your value has increased so much in her mind that she sees other women as threats. She's no longer the prize you're chasing. She's now one option among many, and that shift is killing her. This is exactly what you needed to happen. She's finally feeling what you felt when she made you question your worth. Now here's the trap most men fall into. They see her jealousy and think, perfect. Let me amp this up. Let me post more with other women. Let me make her really jealous. And they start performing thirst traps, flex posts, obvious attempts to make her feel replaced. That's a rookie move. That screams try-hard energy, and she'll see through it immediately. Real jealousy doesn't need to be manufactured. It happens naturally when you're actually living well, and other people are noticing. If you have to force it, it's not real. And she'll know you're doing it for her, which brings your value right back down. So what you do is just live your life authentically. If you're out with friends and there are women in the group, that's natural. If someone interesting enters your life, that's natural. You're not hiding it, but you're not advertising it either. Let the jealousy be a byproduct of your life moving forward, not a tactic to manipulate her feelings. That jealousy is real, but sign 6 reveals the deeper shift happening in her heart. Sign 6. She's more vulnerable around you now than she ever was before. This is subtle but significant. She's dropping her walls. She's admitting struggles she never shared when things were good. She's asking for your opinion on things that matter to her. She's opening up about fears, insecurities, parts of her life she used to keep private. Things she never felt comfortable sharing when you were pursuing her are suddenly on the table. Here's what's happening internally. When she took you for granted, she felt safe being closed off. She didn't need to let you in because your attention was guaranteed. But now that you've pulled back, now that she's unsure if she still has access to you, vulnerability becomes her strategy. She's trying to rebuild the connection from a place of regret, and vulnerability is how women create intimacy when they realize they've lost something valuable. This is actually one of the most telling signs, because vulnerability doesn't come easy for women who took you for granted. They had walls up for a reason. Pride, control, emotional protection. Whatever it was. And when those walls start coming down, it means she's processing real regret. She's realizing you were safe. You were solid. And she messed that up. But here's the critical test you need to run. Is this manipulation or is this genuine? Some women use vulnerability as a tactic. They open up just enough to pull you back in, then close off once they feel secure again. That's not real change. That's strategy. Real vulnerability is consistent. It shows up even when she's not trying to win you back. It's part of how she's relating to you now, not just a tool to get your attention. So what do you do here? You listen. You acknowledge it. But you don't become her therapist. You don't rush in to fix everything or rescue her from her struggles. That puts you back in the emotional support role without the respect that needs to come with it. You're present, but you maintain your frame. You show her that you're a safe place, but she has to earn that trust back over time. It's not automatic just because she's finally opening up, but the most telling sign, number 7, is what she does differently to prove her realization. Number 7. She actively tries to add value to your life. This is the most undeniable sign, because it requires effort she didn't give before. She's not just responsive or vulnerable. She's pursuing you through action. Offering help without being asked. Sending you opportunities, resources, connections. Supporting your goals in ways she never did when you were chasing. Showing up for you in tangible ways. Proving she's willing to contribute. Not just take. Here's the psychology. She's realized words and emotions won't be enough. You've seen responsiveness, nostalgia, vulnerability. None of that brought you back. So she's reversing the dynamic completely. She's doing for you what you used to do for her. She's pursuing through service, through adding value, through making your life better. This is massive because it shows she's willing to humble herself. She felt like the prize, and now she's trying to prove her worth to you. That role reversal is the clearest signal she understands what she lost. She's not testing availability anymore. She's trying to earn her way back in. What this reveals is she's realized you were the prize all along. The man who added value, created experiences, brought presence to her life. She took that for granted, and now she's rebuilding it by showing she can add value too. This is her making amends through action, not words. But here's the critical question. Is this enough? Has she changed enough to deserve another chance? Just because she's showing these signs doesn't mean you owe her anything. You decide if this effort is genuine, consistent, backed by real change, not just when she wants you back, but long term. What you do is simple. Acknowledge the improvement. I appreciate that, or that means something. But maintain your standards. Don't lower the bar just because she's finally meeting it. She should have been doing this the whole time. If you take her back without her earning it fully, you'll end up right back where you started. Make her prove it's not just a phase. Now here's what you need to understand about all 7 signs combined. These 7 signs aren't just behaviors, they're her internal process playing out in real time. She's realizing, regretting, and reconsidering. But here's the truth. She realizes when you stop proving yourself, the moment you walked away and focused on your own life, that's when you became valuable again. Don't rush back just because you're seeing these signs. She took you for granted once. If you make yourself available too quickly, she'll do it again. You're setting a standard. Your attention, your time, your presence have value. And they're not free just because she finally figured that out. The man she took for granted is the man she can't forget. If he never goes back to chasing, stay grounded. Let her rebuild what she destroyed. And if she earns it, you decide if she's worth letting back in. Have you seen these signs from a woman who took you for granted? Drop your story in the comments. I'm reading every one. And if this gave you clarity, hit subscribe. There's more coming.